Have you ever installed a Python package that almost does what you need, but comes with a lot of baggage you don't want? I faced a situation with an old Python package that hadn't been updated on GitHub in years. It had a lot of functions, but I only needed a small subset. When I showed others how I was using it, they started coming back to me with issues in areas I'd never touched and I wouldn't need. I did want some new functionality, but I didn't want to maintain abandoned code. So I decided to fork the project on GitHub and create a simpler version focused solely on my requirements. And I'd go one step further, make it available to others as a pip install. I'm a data engineer. I've installed countless packages, but I've never published one for general public use. I'm going to walk through step by step what I did. If you'd also like written instructions, there's a link in the description below to a step-by-step tutorial on Medium. If you're not a Medium member, you can get free reads a month, but if you're blocked, I'll have a link to the article on my website. Let me show you how to assess a package's maintenance status. I'm here in PyPI on a particular package. You can see over here that the latest release was 2019. That is over 5 years ago. Next, I'm going to look at the commit history. To do that, I'll scroll down here and on the left, I'm looking for the link to the source. I'll click on this and that jumps me over to the package on GitHub. Again, I can see the latest release date. I am going to check the commit history. Just jump in here and, interesting. So the last time I looked at this, I could see that the latest commit was in June 2021. I can see there is a more recent commit this year. Not a material change for me, so I'll continue with my plan to fork it and work with my own more limited version. Step 1 is to fork the project. Let's go and find a sample project on GitHub. I will literally type in sample project, and up comes a number of projects that are part of tutorials. I'll take this first one, go into this. This is a well laid out project as part of a tutorial for packaging and distributing projects, as it happens. So what do we mean by forking? It means that you're going to create your own copy of a repository that you modify independently. Unlike just downloading the code, forking preserves the connection to the original project and maintains the full Git history. Create a fork on GitHub, make sure you're logged in, you're on the original project, and the fork button is here in the top right corner of the page. As you can see, this project has been forked by 1,700 students, I would have thought. It's telling me I don't have any forks of this repository. Create a new fork. So have a think about the name that you're going to use. If you intend to publish a materially different package for public use, it may be appropriate to use a different name. Names don't have to be unique on PyPI, but having the same name can be confusing for people. For me, I modified the name, and here I'll do it too. Instead of sample project, I'll call this simple project. You can change the description here. The description does display on GitHub, so do think about what you want to put in the description. Copy the main branch only. Turn this option off if you want to copy down the development branches. I don't, so I will leave that checked. And then hit green button, create fork. This jumps me back into my own area. It is creating this simple project. And you can see in terms of attribution, Git history, it is clear that it's been forked from another project. Now that you've got the repository on GitHub, you want to set up your local environment. I'll just get out of here, get out of this virtual environment, go up to my main directory, and I want to set up a new area or directory for my repository. I also want a virtual environment for it. Just clear the screen and I will set up my virtual environment and directory. -m, virtual environment, and I will call this simple project. I'll head into that directory now, and then I will activate the virtual environment. So now I want to bring down the code from GitHub. So I'll toggle over to GitHub, simple project, and I'm going to expand this code button, and I'm going to copy the URL for my project because I don't want to type all that out. So I'll hit copy, toggle back over, and now I will use the git command, git clone, and then paste what I've just copied and hit enter, and it's bringing it down. And if I do a list, I can see I have a number of files here now. If I go into simple project, and there is the licensing file, README, the setup file, etc., and the code is in here. Go down one level. Okay, so there's the dunder, and there is that simple.py is the main code. Step 3, make your changes. This is where you go ahead and change the code and provide your own value. You have copied the original project's configuration files, so step 4 is to update those files. In my Medium article, I have a very simplified schematic of a typical published project. You've got the main directory. In a subdirectory, you'll have the code doing the actual work. Usually, you'll have a tests directory for unit tests. And then there are several configuration files, and you will have to change some of them. If you're not sure what changes to make, I suggest you go to my article. I've called out typical changes you'll make: package name, your name. Dependencies, I got some details here as to what you want to do. Version number, you may want to start from where the original project left off. If it's a first iteration, then you're probably going to go with 0.1.0. If everything is fully stable, then 1.0.0 may be the choice. License file, important to retain the one that's there. If it's the GNU General Public License file, then you don't need to change it at all. Whatever it is, you should probably read it. README is probably the most time consuming. I've got some boilerplate stuff that you can copy for the attribution. This is where you're giving the credit to the original authors. And then finally, your package may not have this, the changelog, but here's an example of what your first entry could look like. Step number 5, unit tests. At this point, I feed Claude my code and ask for it to generate unit tests. In my opinion, it goes completely overboard, delivers far too much complexity. I go through usually 2 iterations of saying, make it simpler, and then I'm good. Step number 6, build a package. Back in my virtual environment, I need 2 tools to compile and publish the project. One is called build and the other is called twine. So I'll pip install build and twine. Let those come down. So now I have the tools. I want to build my project into a compiled package that can be distributed. Let me just do a quick list, clear that. I'll go into my project directory. I'll do a quick list to show you the structure of this directory. I have 2 folders, source and tests. I'm showing you that to show what it looks like after I run the build. So Python -m build. And now I'm going to show you the structure of this directory. And you see I now have a dist folder for distribution. Let's take a look at it. It's got 2 files. The first one, ending in .whl, is the wheel. This is usually what a pip install uses. The second file, ending in tar.gz, the compress file, that's basically all the source code and metadata. So that's it for your build. You now have a package that can be distributed. Step number 7, publish in test mode. This website, pypi.org, is where packages come down from when you run pip install. And this is where ultimately you do want to publish your package to. But I strongly advise that if this is your first time publishing, and indeed if it's not, that you first publish to the test version of PyPI, which is this, test.pypi.org. So let's go ahead and do that. Even if you already have an account on pypi.org, you need a separate account on the test site and a separate API token. I'll log in to my account. Just register if you don't have one. 2-factor authentication is now mandatory. Now I'm in here. I'm going to go to my account and I am going to go to account settings and I need an API token in order to publish. So I'm going to scroll down within account settings until I come to API tokens and I'm going to add an API token. I'm going to call this demo project and this confused me the first time. If you're setting this up for the first time, you'll only have this option available to you. So just take entire account, despite the warnings, and hit create token. And now I'm going to copy the token. I'm going to jump back into my local environment. And now I'm going to use the Twine tool, upload to test PyPI. Command is twine upload. I'm going to give it the repository because the default is the standard PyPI. So I have to tell it to use test PyPI. And then I have to tell it where to find the distribution files. And those are in my dist folder. So dist/star. Hit enter on that. Now it's asking for my API token. Remember, I have it copied. It's in my clipboard. So I just hit paste here and the upload process does start. The reason is I don't have valid details in the configuration information. The upload process checks that and rejects what I'm sending it. The reason I'm showing you this is that this also happened when I had a real package to publish. I got a similar error. So to investigate, I took its advice. I repeated this with the verbose parameter. And the error message was pretty cryptic. I threw it into Claude and it explained that there was one piece of code that was not compliant with the most recent PEP standards. So I changed the line of code, ran twine upload again, and it published successfully. Once you've successfully uploaded your package to test PyPI, you should test the install. Go to your account and go to your projects, go to view, and there's the pip install pointing at test PyPI. I suggest that you follow steps like this, deactivate your current virtual environment, make a new test directory, give yourself a fresh, clean virtual environment, activate that, and then run the pip install down from the test site. If, like me, you get a very fast email or several emails from test PyPI telling you that there are problems with your publication, not so severe that they rejected it, but it's usually that there are PEP changes coming up to standards and they're telling you you better get ready for those. Put the details into the article about how to go about removing the old distribution files in your project and rebuilding and re-uploading to test PyPI. Finally, step 8, publish to PyPI. Once you've tested your process, this is the simplest step. Again, you're going to use the Twine tool, Twine upload, but this time you don't have to specify the repository. Just Twine upload and tell it where your distribution files are, which are dist/star. And that's it. Well done. Your package is now available to the world.